Time is one of the most fundamental aspects of our reality, yet it remains deeply mysterious. We experience time as a continuous flow, moving from past to present and into the future. But does the future already exist in some sense, or is it something that comes into being moment by moment? This question has been at the heart of philosophical debates for centuries and has significant implications for how we understand reality, causality, and free will. There are three major philosophical positions on the nature of time: presentism, eternalism, and the growing block theory. Each of these offers a different answer to whether the future is already determined or if it is something yet to be formed. To explore this question, we will examine these perspectives and their consequences for our understanding of time and existence. Presentism: only the present exists. Presentism is the idea that only the present moment is real. Both the past and the future do not exist in any meaningful way. According to this view, the future is not something that already exists waiting to be reached. Instead, it is something that comes into being as time moves forward. This idea aligns with our everyday experience. We remember the past but cannot access it, and we anticipate the future without knowing what will happen. Presentists argue that the passage of time is a fundamental part of reality, rather than an illusion. However, presentism faces challenges, especially from modern physics. Einstein's theory of relativity suggests that time is relative and that different observers can experience different presents. This undermines the idea of a single universal present, making it difficult to define what now actually means in a consistent way. Eternalism, the block universe theory. Eternalism presents a radically different view, arguing that the past, present, and future all exist equally. This perspective is often associated with the block universe theory, which views time as a four-dimensional structure, much like a block of space-time where all events, past, present, and future, are fixed. In this view, the future is just as real as the present or past, meaning that in some sense, everything that will happen has already happened in the grand structure of reality. Time does not flow. Rather, we move through different points in the block. This idea is strongly supported by physics, particularly Einstein's theory of relativity, which suggests that time is simply another dimension like space. However, eternalism raises troubling philosophical questions about free will. If the future already exists, do we really have the power to make choices, or is everything predetermined? Growing block theory, a compromise. The growing block theory offers a middle ground between presentism and eternalism. According to this view, the past and present exist, but the future does not, at least not yet. The universe is like a growing block, constantly expanding as new moments become real. This perspective maintains the reality of the past while preserving the openness of the future. It allows for change and novelty, suggesting that while the past is fixed, the future remains undetermined. One challenge to the growing block theory is defining exactly when the future becomes the present. If the present moment is the cutting edge of reality, what determines when something shifts from future to present? Additionally, like presentism, it struggles to fit within the relativistic model of time, where the division between past, present, and future is not absolute. Implications of theories of time. The different views on time, presentism, eternalism, and the growing block theory, carry profound implications for several philosophical and scientific questions. If the future already exists, does that mean everything is predetermined? If only the present is real, how do we account for our understanding of causality and memory? These theories challenge our understanding of free will, determinism, and the nature of time itself. Free will versus determinism. One of the most significant consequences of these theories concerns free will, our ability to make choices that influence the future. If the future is already written, as eternalism suggests, then do we really have any control over our actions, or are we merely playing out a script? Eternalism and determinism. If all moments in time exist equally, then every event, including every choice we make, is already part of the block universe. From this perspective, our sense of making decisions might be an illusion. While we feel like we are choosing, all our actions are already laid out in the structure of time, just as past events are. This aligns with a deterministic view of the universe, where every event follows inevitably from prior causes. Presentism and free will. Presentism, on the other hand, provides a natural space for free will. Since the future does not yet exist, our choices are not predetermined but actively shape what will come. However, critics argue that presentism lacks a clear explanation for why time flows and how causality works across moments. Growing block theory, a middle ground. The growing block theory suggests that while the past is fixed, the future remains open. This means that while the present is constrained by past events, the future is not yet decided. This view supports a more nuanced version of free will, where choices have real consequences and help shape the unfolding of time. The psychological experience of time. Regardless of which theory is true, we experience time as moving forward. But why do we feel this passage of time if, according to eternalism, the future is already out there? Memory and time's direction. One reason we perceive time flowing is that we remember the past but not the future. This asymmetry shapes our experience of reality, making it seem like time moves in one direction. The second law of thermodynamics. Physics provides a partial explanation. Entropy, disorder, always increases over time, creating a thermodynamic arrow of time. This makes time appear to flow from a low entropy past to a higher entropy future. But this does not necessarily mean the future doesn't already exist. It just means we experience it sequentially. The problem of now. If eternalism is correct and all moments exist equally, why do we experience now as special? Some physicists and philosophers argue that consciousness may play a role in how we perceive time, though there is no consensus on this idea. Scientific perspectives. Does physics support a fixed future? Modern physics often leans toward eternalism, largely because of Einstein's theory of relativity. This theory shows that time is not absolute. Different observers can experience different presents, depending on their motion. This suggests that time is more like space, a dimension in which past, present, and future all exist. However, quantum mechanics introduces uncertainty. The Copenhagen interpretation suggests that reality only takes definite form when observed, implying that the future is not predetermined but probabilistic. The many worlds interpretation, on the other hand, suggests that all possible futures exist in parallel universes. These scientific ideas challenge the notion of a fixed future while also complicating the traditional understanding of free will. If multiple futures exist, do we choose one, or do all possibilities unfold simultaneously? Conclusion. The question of whether the future already exists remains unresolved, with compelling arguments on all sides. Presentism aligns with our everyday experience but struggles to fit within modern physics. Eternalism provides a logical structure that matches relativity, but it challenges our sense of free will. The growing block theory offers a compromise, suggesting that time is constantly being built rather than pre-existing in full. Ultimately, whether the future exists may depend on whether time is a fundamental feature of the universe or just a way we humans perceive reality. Until we have a deeper understanding of consciousness, causality, and physics, the nature of time will remain one of philosophy's greatest mysteries. Cultural and religious perspectives on time. Beyond physics and philosophy, different cultures and religious traditions have developed unique perspectives on the nature of time. These perspectives often influence how people think about fate, free will, and the possibility of a predetermined future. Western traditions, linear time, and predestination. In Western thought, time is generally seen as linear, moving from past to present to future. This view is deeply embedded in Judeo-Christian traditions, where time has a beginning, creation, a middle, history, and an end, apocalypse or salvation. Christianity and predestination. Some Christian doctrines, particularly those influenced by St. Augustine and John Calvin, suggest that God exists outside of time and already knows the future. This aligns with an eternalist view. If God sees all moments at once, then the future already exists in some form. However, most theological interpretations attempt to reconcile divine foreknowledge with human free will. Scientific influence. Modern Western perspectives on time have also been shaped by scientific discoveries, particularly Einstein's relativity, which suggests time is a flexible dimension rather than a fixed flow. Eastern philosophies, cyclical time and timelessness. Many Eastern traditions, particularly Hinduism, Buddhism, and Taoism view time differently than the Western linear model. Hinduism and the eternal cycle. Hindu philosophy describes time as cyclical, with the universe undergoing endless cycles of creation, preservation, and destruction, the yugas. In this view, the future is not a separate, unknown realm, but part of an eternal process that repeats. Buddhism and the illusion of time. Some Buddhist teachings suggest that time is an illusion, a construct of human perception. If time is not fundamentally real, then asking whether the future exists may be the wrong question altogether. Taoism and flow. Taoist philosophy emphasizes living in harmony with the natural flow of time rather than resisting it. Rather than worrying about whether the future exists, Taoism encourages individuals to focus on the present moment. Indigenous and alternative views. Many indigenous traditions also have unique understandings of time, often blending linear and cyclical perspectives. The dreaming, Australian Aboriginal philosophy. Some Aboriginal Australian cultures believe in the dreaming, a concept where past, present, and future exist simultaneously in a sacred, interconnected way. Mayan and Hopi time concepts. Indigenous American traditions, such as the Mayan and Hopi perspectives, also see time as nonlinear, with prophecy and cycles playing a key role in understanding the future. These cultural views suggest that the way we think about time may be shaped more by tradition and worldview than by objective reality. Time, consciousness, and the future. Is time an illusion? Some physicists and philosophers argue that time is not a fundamental part of reality, but rather an emergent property of consciousness. If true, this would mean that questions about the future's existence might be more about human perception than about the structure of the universe. Block universe and the illusion of change. Some eternalists suggest that what we experience as the passage of time is just our movement through a pre-existing four-dimensional space-time structure. Consciousness and the present moment. Some theories propose that consciousness itself plays a role in how we experience time, possibly even bringing the future into existence through our observations. Time travel and the nature of the future. If the future already exists, does that mean time travel is possible? Relativity and time travel. According to relativity, time travel to the future is theoretically possible through extreme speeds or gravitational effects. This suggests that the future must already exist in some way for it to be visited. Quantum mechanics and alternate timelines. If quantum mechanics allows multiple possible futures, then perhaps the future does not exist as a single fixed entity, but rather as a branching set of possibilities. Final thoughts. Can we ever know the answer? The question of whether the future already exists is deeply tied to our understanding of time, reality, and free will. Presentism, eternalism, and the growing block theory each offer different answers, but none are without challenges. While physics increasingly supports a block universe model, human experience and consciousness still suggest that time flows and the future remains open. Cultural and religious perspectives further complicate the debate, showing that different civilizations have developed radically different ways of thinking about time. Ultimately, the nature of time remains one of the greatest mysteries in philosophy and science. Whether the future is already written or yet to be created, our journey through time, whatever it may be, continues.